my pants back on.
Hi, everybody.
I shouldn't bother. We can't see. Unless you stand up and wiggle it
So,
around.
yeah, just don't stand up.
I actually am standing up.
Oh.
Here, let's see if I can
thought
get
you were
my-
taller than that.
No, I'm not tall like you. That's height discrimination from Nick.
Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
yeah, it is a bit, yeah.
HR,
You know that song?
take a
That
note
song,
of it.
that song,
Yeah.
Short People? Yeah. Short People.
Ooh.
Oh, wow, look at that.
Oh,
That's a very
overhead.
fancy-looking piece of kit.
Wow.
So that's-
actually
These are the faders that I was talking to you about. So
Yeah.
this fader only adjusts the sound going into the
Cool.
interface, which is right there.
So
which you can't
what
see.
camera is that you've got?
This is the Insta 360 Link camera that I've been using.
Ah, right.
It's like a little mini PTZ camera.
PTZ.
And
Zed.
it's
PTZ.
pan.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, PTZ, but we say in the US PTZ. Pan, tilt, zoom.
Ah, okay. Right.
That's what they call it in the professional
In the professional world.
audio video world. PTZ cameras.
Yeah.
It's really nice. It's a 4K as well.
Wow.
Nice.
Sounds good.
Nice.
If you want one, let me know.
Nice.
I want two. Can I have two?
No.
Nick
I'll
gonna
wait
have
for
like
my
a 10,
Sony
10 camera
to,
setup.
I'll wait for
F7
my
or whatever
Sony
that thing is.
to break down first.
Have you heard of that that PTZ camera that Sony just came out with?
No.
Let's see, what is it called? Sony, I think it's something 7, F7. It's like, it's not cheap.
Oh, I definitely want two then.
They're talking about it on this thing that I always watch called Office Hours Global.
So, Jeff, seeing as we did the intro and everything last night, we'll just start in on the next news item, yes? Is that how you plan to start?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me think about it. Well, we got to do the
You want-
intro for Nick, though.
Oh, yeah, Nick's intro. That's true. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then,
Well, just so I can go, hi.
hi.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't need to be there for the beginning.
No.
No. Have a
Unless
good
you
show,
wanna be.
boys. No.
Okay.
Behave yourselves.
Okay. Oh, but if you're still hearing me, Liz, Jeff's post edit is cleared out. So if you want to move
Okay,
some of
I'll
those that
go
we
and-
covered with
yeah, I'll go and-
Liz,
I'll move
I mean
with
with
Steph.
Steph. Yeah.
I'll do that.
Okay. I mean, just
So
if you want to.
who have we got? We got hi, Matt. Oh, that's Liz
Hello.
saying hi, Matt. We got Matt. Stephen, hi, Stephen.
Hello.
Ralph. Guten Tag, Ralph. And
Stephen Ivy. Hello, Stephen. You need to be on the show with us sometime again soon. Whatever. Although you have a pretty busy life right now with your children, child/children, soon to be.
should Probablt intro.
Should
Nick?
probablt intro Nick.
Oh.
I think he's trying to say should probably do the introduction for Nick.
Ah, okay.
Thank you, New
New.
November Echo Whiskey, NEW.
Yes, are you new here?
Must be. Yeah, I know. But you know what? Let's be charitable and welcome them with open arms.
Open arms, yeah.
We love you. We really do. And we love the opposing bases as well. Those guys are great. Until somebody one of these days figures out that what they're telling you is not right at all and they're really not air traffic controllers.
Exactly.
Oops. Did I just spill the beans?
One of their listeners gets a telephone number over the radio. Oops. But opposing bases said.
No, good show. They're real air traffic controllers and pilots.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Very real.
Okay, so what am I trying to do here? I'm going to go here to Evernote and have my little intro for Nicholas. And then I need to go to the sound playing app and, oh, what happened? I thought I clicked on it. Apparently not. Let's see. Yeah, I meant when you're in the actual stream, you don't need to do that. Gotcha. But yeah, for when we're doing like the normal thing, like we're doing now with the control room, yeah, for sure. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Okay, that's a good idea. So Nick, she's telling me control room is saying we'll do news, and then I guess everything that we can cover except what we're saving for Rick, right? Okay. So the news for Rick. Okay. So most of the news, and then we're going to go to the plain tale, and then after the plain tale, whatever time we have left over, we'll do feedback.
Okay, so we're doing any getting to know you?
Yeah, we'll do a get to know you. Let's.
Okay.
When will we do that, Liz? After the news, we'll do that, and then after that, we'll do the plain tale.
Okay.
And let me do a sound check on your intro.
1,000.
That sounds fine.
Does it? Okay.
Might even be a little quiet.
Really? Holy crap.
Yeah.
Okay. So obviously what I'm hearing is like not representative of what you guys.
All right. Okay.
Let me try it again.
1,000.
That's fine.
Okay.
In hot.
Okay.
Hartford, Hereford, and Hampshire.
Hampshire. And then we're thinking that maybe Nick Camacho may join us, but we're not sure. Probably not. But we'll see. We'll just play that by ear. You never know.
Sauce.
Okay. And let me get back to Evernote, and I think we're about right. Yes. Nick, do you have your recorder active?
I do now, sir.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had mine going for like 5 seconds longer than yours.
Well done.
I'm drinking a White Russian.
Ooh, white beer. Is that
And-
like a Belgian white beer?
No, it's not a beer at all. It's a White Russian cocktail. It's
It's a cocktail. Oh, right.
It's
okay.
coffee, liqueur, and vodka.
Yeah,
and
I've
cream?
had the cocktail. I just thought someone might have named beer after it. A pretty famous cocktail, isn't it?
That,
White Russians.
probably, yeah. What's the movie that the guy drinks the White Russians? It's a great movie. I love the movie. Just can't think of the name of it.
Cocktail?
No.
You
Jeff?
sure? Because I'm sure there's a White Russian somewhere in cocktail.
What's his name? Jeff. It's not Jeff Bridges, is it? Jeff. Help me out, chat room.
All three of you.
Jeff Bridges, is it? Yes, the Great Lebowski. It is Jeff Bridges, right? The Big Lebowski. Yes. Amazing movie. It's a little weird. Nick, have you ever seen it?
I'm sure I have seen the movie, but I can't
Yeah.
bring it to mind right now.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's different. That's the way to describe it, Liz. But he drinks White Russians all the time. Okay.
Sensible man.
Yes, thank you, Stephen Ivy. Are we ready to roll? Our control room is asking me. And I think my answer would be yes. Here we go. Hey, look at that.
1,000.
Also joining me today from his studio,
In Hartford, Hereford, and Hampshire.
professional photographer, former RAF RAAF fighter pilot, retired Airbus A330 A340 captain for Virgin Atlantic Airways. It's Captain Nick.
Hi there, Jeff. Lovely to see you again. What's just happened to Steph? She's just disappeared.
What's that?
What's happened to Steph? She's just disappeared.
Yeah, I know. She was here, and then she finally just tired of this whole thing and decided, forget. Okay, so what we're doing here, we're on day 2. I kind of explained it at the start of the show. We're on day 2 of a 3-day recording, a 3-part recording
Marathon.
of 559, the hot mess, or in a hot mess. And we're in the midst of this hot mess, and now we're featuring our old pilot, plaintail master, and curmudgeon. Yes, the old curmudgeon, Captain Nick. How are you, sir? Thanks for joining us.
I'm very curmudgeonly, thank you. Looking forward to chatting about some of these incidents.
Okay. Well, let's do that. And do we need to play this new sounder again, Liz, you think? Okay. Here, I'll play a little bit of it. Okay, that's enough. All right.
Yeah.
We're trying to squeeze in as much as we can. All right. Let's start off in the news segment with this. Oh, shoot. I asked the question before we started the recording if I needed to load any videos, and then I forgot to follow through with it. I do need to load a video. So let me go over here to present and video file. And this is in Boston, isn't it? Yes, open. Okay. Boston. Okay. It's uploading. And do I need to do any context here? Let's see. This is from ABC 5 WCVB in Boston. The FAA is investigating a close call between a Learjet and a JetBlue flight Monday night at Boston Logan International Airport. According to a preliminary review, the pilot of a Learjet 60 took off without clearance, while JetBlue Flight 206 was preparing to land on an intersecting runway. So we will go ahead and add this to the stream and hit play. And here we go. This is from Vass Aviation, an awesome YouTube channel, Real Aviation Communications. Here we go. We're watching
Budget 280, monitor tower 132.22.
the bird's eye view of the Boston Logan International Airport in Boston.
Runway 9, line up and wait, traffic line cross the runway.
Okay, Hopjet 280, she's just told him line up and wait, runway 9. And the landing runways appear to be the 4s, the 4 left and 4 right. So this is a intersecting runway. And so we're seeing the Hopjet, Learjet,
correct.
rolling right in front of the runway 9 intersection.
Ouch.
And JetBlue has just been instructed to go around. They were on short final on 4 right. And there's another.
5 runway heading, maintain 3000.
Runway heading up to, sorry, say it again, the altitude?
3000.
Startle
3000.
effect.
JetBlue
What's going on here? Why do we have to go around? There's also an airplane landing on 4 left. The Hopjet, Learjet, they're just
Tower Delta 1090 is on the ILS.
boom, boom, boom. They're just
206,
Yeah.
continue
I
on
believe
runway
it
heading,
was me, not me.
maintain 3000.
Must have been some
Runway
other
heading, maintain
hot
3000, JetBlue 206.
206, maintain 4000. I'm sorry, climb maintain 4000.
Maintain 4000, JetBlue 206.
Opposite 280, contact departure today.
oh, Hoppajet. Oh, so cute. Hoppajet.
Yeah,
So 1090 Boston Tower, runway
Hop
4
out
right.
the way,
clear.
Hoppajet.
Land 4 right, L 1090.
Now, what's
206,
interesting,
Contact departure 133.0, turn right heading 090.
that's
All right, heading 090 and 133.0, JetBlue 206.
okay.
Jet
I'm going to
280,
stop it
monitor
right
tower
there.
132.2.
Well, I thought I was. Here we go. Hoppajet 280, monitor tower 132. I think that was a different Hoppajet flight, maybe.
Okay.
Was that the same one?
I think it was a Hoppajet that caused
Yeah.
the problem.
Oh, I think I just did something. I rewound the thing. Hoppajet 280.
I was interested to see actually which taxiway the hopper jet had used to get onto the runway.
They use,
and
okay,
he
I'll
used
back it up.
The one that goes right to the end, I think.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, which is correct. So
Yeah. Let's see. Trying to find it. Okay, hit play a little bit here. And it's the one that basically takes it right to the end of the
that's the correct turn on.
Mm-hmm. And so what happened here is, and there are a lot of factors that could cause something like this to happen. There are a lot of checklists that were running right before we approach a runway and about to take the runway for takeoff. There could be other distractions. I don't know. The Hopper jet flight, they may have had passengers that may have been talking to them, or they may have been talking to the passengers, and that was a distraction. I don't know. We don't have a cockpit voice recorder transcript or anything. But they told them to line up and wait, and they did, but they didn't wait. They read.
Didn't wait very long.
Yeah, they didn't wait very long. It was a misunderstanding.
I'm bored with this. I'm going to go.
So they lined up and didn't wait, and they rolled for takeoff. And sometimes, if you're doing a lot of flying and you're fatigued and you're just like thinking, I'm pretty sure we were clear for takeoff, and then maybe the other pilot was going like, I don't know if we're not, but okay, yeah. So it's not the first time this has happened, and
generous,
it's not
Jeff.
Yeah, I know. Go ahead, Nick.
You
be
are,
the bad cop.
you're being very good for them. But I mean, we've been looking at incidents where we have potential collisions on the runway, a number of them recently, and this is just one to add to the list. And how long do we have to wait before someone actually bombs into another aircraft and there's a massive loss of life?
Yeah.
Whenever you're departing from runways that intersect, you have got to be so careful. I mean, you've got to be careful anyway, because aircraft can taxi across your runway if they're trying to get to the other side of the airfield. And all these hot spots you see on your airport diagrams are there for a damn good reason. And this is one aspect of the flight where you can't really afford to be operating a bit below par, because... yeah, this is just so vital that you get your clearances right and that you depart in a safe manner, because we know what's going to happen if you don't get it right. And we saw the effect at Tenerife, the world's worst aviation disaster, and we just don't want another one. But if people keep making these errors, it's going to happen, and we're all predicting it now. We're all worried about it. Mm-hmm. The FAA is worried about it. They want everyone to concentrate on many aspects of aviation, but in particular this problem, because I'm sure they are as concerned as we are that something's going to go drastically wrong before long.
Yeah. And you do wonder, and I know that you do this, or you did this when you were a professional airline pilot, and I do every time I take a runway, is I look at the final for the runway and I say, final is clear.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's old school, but it's absolutely necessary. Nowadays, we've also got TCAS. We turn the TCAS on well before we get onto the runway so that the symbology of aircraft making approaches shows up. And it is so you need to have a good view out of the cockpit. You can watch the aircraft coming in on your TCAS and you can go, well, that guy seems to be landing on the runway that we're about to cross. Mm-hmm. Does this look right to you? And this is part and parcel of what we should be doing, as natural as any other type of airmanship you'd like to talk about.
Yep. Mistakes are made, but the thing that would have prevented it or trapped it, or as we like to say, is the fact just looking out the window and saying, that guy looks like he's landing on this runway we're about to cross, and maybe we should.
Very luckily,
ask.
the air trafficker, hats off to her, who was looking out of the window and sent him around, because she was the instigator of the issue, was she not? Or Did the
Well-
JetBlue spot it before she did?
When
certain.
you say instigator, you mean the one that actually directed the go? I think.
Yeah.
I think she did. Yeah, if I remember correctly.
I mean, I've no doubt the JetBlue would have spotted it as it lurched in front of them. Pretty hard to miss an airplane going across your runway, and it's quite close to the threshold. So hopefully they would have caught it themselves. But no, the trafficker did a good job, I thought.
Yeah. Now we're relying, of course, on the video simulation of where the airplanes were and all that kind of stuff. And that may be a little bit different in real life in this incident. But maybe the JetBlue people were going, "Whoa, this is close, but looks like it's going to work out." And then for the tower controller, it was probably like, "This is too close for comfort. Let's be safe. Let's send them around."
Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing I'm a little bit disappointed about is that she didn't say, "We have a possible pilot deviation. Please let me know when you're ready to copy down this."
All these deviant pilots.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, chat room question from November Echo Whiskey: Can a pilot readily turn off TCAS warnings for taxi and lineup? I would imagine they are not blaring when you're on the ground. Is that correct? Yeah, the TCAS 2 system software does have provisions for below 1,000 feet, it stops doing the resolution advisories or RAs. And I believe it below a certain altitude, or if it's sensing that an airplane is on the ground, it should not give you a traffic advisory, because that's a nuisance. Because there are so many, especially these big airports like Atlanta, there are a lot of airplanes out there taxiing around that have their TCAS or their mode C on, displaying their information, and that would be, your TCAS would be going off like crazy, giving you traffic advisories of all these airplanes that are pretty close. So, yeah, there is some filtering going on, and
it's a pretty clever system. It knows you're on the ground, so it inhibits a lot. But you can still see the symbols, which is just the same as kind of looking out the window and looking for airplanes. But
it's great for your SA, situational awareness.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Good question. Thank you, November Echo Whiskey. And just to clarify that we need to tell November Echo Whiskey, you're not watching the Opposing Bases podcast. This is Airline Pilot Guy, and we actually use real names here if you want.
Can do, yeah, absolutely. I was just going to bring to your attention, you probably read it already, the final sentence in this piece, Jeff. Due to concerns, the FAA said it would form a safety team to review the U.S. aviation system. A safety summit will be held in March, January, February, March. That's this month.
Next month. Or this
to
month,
find additional measures to ensure aviation safety. So I think they've well and truly picked up on this trend, and I'm hoping they will come up with something that will put an end to it, at least, give us some protection.
I agree. Okay. Next item is this from NPR.org. A man is charged for allegedly trying to bring explosives in his suitcase on a flight.
Good Lord.
Yes. Allentown, PA, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania man faces federal criminal charges after he checked in a suitcase with an explosive device hidden in the lining on a flight to Florida, authorities said Wednesday. Mark Muffley, 40 years old, is charged with possessing an explosive in an airport or possessing or attempting to place an explosive or incendiary device on an aircraft, according to a criminal complaint. Prosecutors allege that the material was found in a suitcase Muffley had checked in Monday at Lehigh Valley International Airport to Allegiant Air Flight 201, which was bound for Orlando Sanford International Airport in Florida. After an alert during security screening, the bag was examined and found hidden in the lining was a circular compound about 3 inches in diameter, encased in a wax-like paper and clear plastic wrap. An FBI bomb technician x-rayed the compound and concluded that it contained a granular powder consistent with a commercial-grade firework and suspected to be a mixture of flash powder and the dark granulars that are used in commercial grade fireworks. Attached to it was a quick fuse, similar to a candle wick, apparently part of the original manufacture of the compound, as well as a hobby fuse that burns more slowly and appeared to have been added after the manufacture, authorities said. They also concluded that the black powder and flash powder are susceptible to ignite from heat and friction and posed a significant risk to the aircraft and passengers. The baggage also contained a can of butane, a lighter, a pipe with a white powder residue, a wireless drill with cordless batteries, and 2 GFCI outlets taped together with black tape. And this article says GFCI outlets are a type of circuit breaker. Okay, well, let me share something here. I think many people are familiar with GFCI outlets, and let me. Yes, they are, Liz. They are near bathrooms for sure. Here we go. Share and share, like that. That is a G ground fault circuit interrupter, GFCI. And it's basically an electrical outlet that we use here in the U.S. and in Canada. You have the same kind of setup, right, Liz? And yeah, it does have a circuit breaker if it senses a fault that
Earth
would
leakage,
make you the
yes.
ground. It will interrupt that and cut the power off to the circuit so you don't get electrocuted. So
that's interesting. I'm trying to put this together in my head. The one I'm confused about is the wireless drill. Does that mean you can control it with your phone with cordless batteries?
Wireless.
So
Yeah,
I
what's a
understand
wireless
it was
drill?
a battery-driven drill, but why is
Yeah.
it a wireless drill? I don't quite understand.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. I think somebody they added. Yeah, maybe a cord. Yeah, Liz is saying cordless drill, probably not.
Yeah, wireless drill
Wireless.
with cordless batteries. Yeah, right. Anyway.
Yeah, I've never controlled a drill with a. Well, there's an app for that apparently.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So it seems a slightly odd collection, and obviously the can of butane is going to be pretty dangerous if the black powder goes off. The lighter, well, was he trying to actually bring the airplane down, or was he going to use it for some other nefarious reason when he got to his destination? I wonder.
Don't know.
Yeah.
Do not know. Yeah,
But
so
I looked at his picture and
Uh-huh.
I thought, there's a man I'd want to X-ray his bag.
Oh, come on. That looks like Nick Camacho. It looks
Yeah,
like an honest
exactly.
guy.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Exactly my point.
Why is Nick Camacho not with us today? He did say he was visiting Allentown, Pennsylvania, didn't he?
Oh, there you go. You see,
Using an alias, apparently.
does look a bit like him, doesn't it?
So we're going to call Nick now Muffley.
Same hat, same beard.
Okay, so authorities said Muffley was paged over the airport's public address system, and shortly thereafter, he was seen leaving the airport.
Yes, running
Oh.
from the airport.
He was traced to a Lansford address where he was arrested by the FBI late Monday night. Officials say he remains in custody pending a probable cause hearing and detention hearing Thursday at 1:30 p.m. in Allentown, which was yesterday, with Muffley attending via video conference. A message was left Wednesday for Muffley's federal public defender, Timothy Wright, but apparently they hadn't gotten back to him yet.
No, but I mean, it is a worry. I have to say, black powder is not a hugely efficient explosive if you want to bring an airplane down, but it could easily cause a big fire. And
For
as
like
we know,
distraction or diversion.
Yeah.
Or something.
yeah, but a fire in a cargo hold can be disastrous. So, it's not the sort of thing you really want to have floating around in someone's baggage.
Well, view from the flight deck and our live audience says maybe early preparation for July 4th. I don't know. Could be.
Oh,
Although maybe he was planning for March 4th because that's tomorrow. Okay, I don't know. All right, let's continue on. Let's see if I can hide, and stop sharing the window, and go over here. Feedback from, wait a minute, which one are we on, Liz? Man, I don't know where I am. Thank you. I'm a little disoriented. Okay, here we go.
You have control.
No, I do not. Nick, you have the aircraft. You have the airplane. Okay. Oh, another video. Here is this from YouTube, the video, and it's from Bass Aviation, I believe, or is that, or I see ATC. Let's see. We'll find out when I play the video. But yes, I did put this in the news segment, Liz, because I thought it was something interesting to cover and talk about. So let's go over here and let me add to the stream and start playing from Bass Aviation, our favorite. And here we go. We're seeing some radar depictions.
2664, check it in, 1200 climbing via the Zoo 3. And 2664, SoCal departure, radar contact, speed your discretion. Yeah, 2664.
Just taking off from San Diego. United 737-8 MAX. Oh, that's the problem. Performing flight UAL 2664 from San Diego to Newark.
United 2664 declaring emergency. We have a laptop on fire in the aircraft. We need a return.
Uh-oh. Laptop on fire.
2664, SoCal approach. Roger. And I'm sorry, what do you have on board, you said? Yeah, we have a laptop on fire in the back. We need to return to the airport. 664, Roger. You want to land 27 or you want to get in immediately at a 9er? No, 27. Okay, heading 270, descend at pilot's discretion, maintain, correction, heading 090, 090, and descend and maintain 5,000.
The other 27.
090, 5,000, United 2664.
Okay.
United 2664, if you get a second, let me know how many people you have on board.
And people, when you're
127 souls
on a frequency,
board.
listen before you start talking.
127 souls on board, copy.
Good morning, departure experience 260s at a 1500. Climb via the 6.
Experience 260, SoCal departure radar contact. Number 6 Charlie Alpha, proceed direct Luja. And
so this is other
approach approved, no separation.
air traffic control going on. A lot of airplanes in Southern California.
Direct Luja, approved, 9 Charlie Alpha. 2664. The field is at 9 o'clock and 5 miles. If you want the visual, let me know. If you want an instrument approach, I can do that too. United 2664, descend at pilot's discretion, maintain 4,000.
Must be busy in the cockpit at United.
United 2664, SoCal approach, reply not received, maintain 4,000, heading 060.
Now, what may happen, I'm pausing the video right now. What may be happening here is they're busy doing checklists, probably talking with the flight attendant to figure out what's going on with the laptop fire in the back. And it's also possible that they might not have their interphone panel correctly configured to communicate with air traffic control. Oh, I'll also mention that those of you who are familiar with San Diego, it's beautiful, it's right on the water. However, not very far to the east of San Diego are mountains, terrain that rises up pretty rapidly.
2664, acknowledge with an ident, and if you see the field at 8 o'clock and 7 miles and want the visual, you're clear for the visual 27.
Still no response.
On approach, Aspen 3 Alpha Hotel 5,500.
Different airplane.
Aspen 3 Alpha Hotel, SoCal, Roger. Cleared into the Bravo, advising you have Romeo.
Cleared into the Bravo, unable to get Romeo, negative UHF.
United 2664, heading towards higher terrain, turn to the north if you can. At 2664, I understand you might be on mask there. I cannot hear you. Suggest you turn north, and you are clear for the visual to San Diego at any time.
trying to figure out
Okay,
his
2664, weak, barely readable. Turn left heading 360. 2664, do you see San Diego? Are you on the visual approach? Yeah, 2664, roger. United 2664, wind calm, cleared to land, runway 27.
Cleared to land, 27, United 2664, copy.
Fairwings 260, contact, disregard.
United 2664, just make sure you have crash fire rescue available at the end of the runway, please.
Yeah, 2664, affirmative. Yeah, 2664, contact Lindbergh Tower 118.3. Once again, you're cleared to land. Fairwings 260, contact LA Center 132.85. Good morning.
It's 13285 for Fairwings 260.
United 2664, Lindbergh Tower, I believe that's you. Runway 27, clear to land. United 2664, just be advised I did copy your landing clearance.
Okay, they get on the
United
ground.
2664, continue on the runway, and when able, just hold position. I'm requesting that you hold on the runway. And United 2664, just when you get a minute, you guys are coming through. I feel like it's a speaker. I'm not the headset.
Okay.
And I got you loud and clear now.
Okay, we're going to come to a stop here at the end of the runway here and send the trucks over. The flight attendants have verified that the fire is out, but we still want them to come over because of hot brakes.
United 2664, copy, fire's out, but now you got hot brakes. They're responding now.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, we're just going to hold position here.
United 2664, roger that.
Okay, 4 people were taken to hospital. Okay, we're going to stop the video. Now, one of the reasons why I wanted to cover this one is that it can get, anytime you have smoke and fumes event or a rapid decompression, or anytime you need to put the oxygen mask on, and it's the reason why we practice it just about every time we go to the simulator, or at least simulate it, is that it's very confusing, and you got to make sure that you know exactly how to set up your interphone panel so you can communicate with the other pilot and also with the flight attendants and also with air traffic control. And apparently one of the pilots had it, and I don't know which one, and the other one did not. And so there was some confusion there, especially with air traffic control saying, look, at least you could hear him, but it wasn't like a normal clear transmission that they were getting from the pilot that was having an issue with the mask. But it's very disorienting, especially, and I've thankfully never had to deal with this in real life, and I hope that I can get through my career without ever having to deal with this. But when you are in a situation, I've heard that you actually have smoke in the cockpit and it's hard to see and it's hard to breathe, and you're trying to communicate with your oxygen mask, it's very, very difficult. And so our boldface, at least on all the jets that I've flown for Acme, is in this kind of a situation, oxygen masks on 100%, crew communications established. And the reason why, obviously putting it on and turning to 100% is very important, right? You need to have that pure oxygen that you're breathing and no smoke. But the other thing that you want is the crew communications and establishing the communications. That's the step I think that one of them kind of fell a little bit short on. And I don't blame them. And, I've never, as I said, I've never been in this situation myself, Captain Nick. I don't know if you have or not, but I have simulated it in the simulator, and it, even in the simulator, is extremely confusing, and they really don't have any smoke, being blown in there and everything else just to make matters worse.
Exactly right, Jeff. I don't know what the Boeing setup is like in the Airbus. It's an integral visor and oxygen mask, and the act of pulling it out of the box to stick it on your face turns the microphone on in the mask, so that when you get it on, it's fine. But of course, we still have to use the interphone setting so that we communicate. Now, in an Airbus, because of the lovely quiet cockpits, generally speaking, we never use the headsets to communicate with each other. We just talk, and we have the headsets off one ear so that we can hear what the other guy's saying, and we only listen in through the other ear, or through the loudspeakers. So the difference for us is when you get the mask on, in order to speak to the guy beside you, you're now going to have to hold down the switch, the interphone switch, which is just like the radio transmit switch, just moves in the opposite direction. And so it's hold to talk. In fact, I think it clicks on, and you have to remember to click it off when you finish talking, because the noise of the oxygen rushing through past the microphone is absolutely deafening. And if you forget to turn your interphone off, the other guy's going to get all this amplified noise, and he's not going to be able to understand a word that's going on. So that's one of the differences. And the other thing for us is that once you have decided it's safe to fly without the mask, when you take the mask off and toss it on the side console, you probably haven't got time to carefully wrap it and restow it. You have to remember to reach into the box where it was stowed, and you have to flick a little tag which turns off the microphone in the mask and allows you to use your normal headset microphone again. And that's something that people often forget. They think they've got a damn failure of their headset. Now they haven't. They've just left it set to oxygen mask rather than the microphones.
Yeah, so on the L-1011, the 727, the Mad Dog, and the current airplane that I'm flying, they all are like that as well. We don't, we just, communicate. We don't communicate via the interphone. We communicate, with one of our ear cups slightly off the ear, and we just talk in normal language normally. But when you get, as Captain Nick just mentioned, once you have the full face mask on, which is, I'm sure I think all airplanes now have the full face mask and integrated oxygen mask setup. You have to communicate through that microphone in the mask, and it's very confusing if you're not used to doing it.
Yeah, practice makes perfect. So we usually get fairly regular practice in the sims. If not every sim, at least every other sim, you've got the oxygen mask on for one reason or another. So you do kind of get the hang of it. And a lot of guys will just play with it during the flight sometimes, to have a bit of a whiff of oxygen, wake themselves up perhaps, but more importantly, just to remind themselves how the controls work.
Yeah. And the other thing that's, it used to be in the old days, like when I was flying the L-1011 and 727 before the full face mask setup, which is really optimum if you are in a real smoke and fume situation. But just if you're just hanging the mask, it's not just a matter of just taking it off your head and like hanging it up. And it's like very simple. The full face mask setups that we have now, at least the way they are in my airplane, the box that you have to put it in, you have to be, it's like, I guess the masters of Cuban cigars and rolling cigars are like really super tight. You have to be have that kind of skill to roll the thing up to make it fit back in that little box. I'm not sure how they're
not the easiest thing to put away.
No, you do not want to pull that thing out unless you absolutely have to. So when we do our oxygen mask tests, we do, have a way of determining whether or not that the microphone in the mask is actually working without actually having to pull the thing out, which is,
Yeah, we do the same thing. We select it and then do a little puff of oxygen to double check that the pressure oxygen works, and you can also hear it coming through the loudspeakers when you do that. So it tests the microphone as well.
Yeah, the only thing that we didn't have, all the airplanes that I've flown, compared to what you talked about, like latching it on and latching it off, it was not that kind of a setup. So that's the only difference that I could tell from
view from
way
the flight
he
deck's going to be in the sim this month, including an emergency descent. So
Oh,
you'll
boy,
be able
he
to
gets
find
to-
out what the A220 masks
Good for
are
you.
like.
It's going to be so much fun.
Yes, it's one bit of aviation that I don't miss at all.
I will not ever miss that either. Okay.
Excellent.
All right, but I think they did a good job. Fire on an airplane is critical, and they handled it pretty well and got it on the ground, and nobody was. Well, I guess there were 4 passengers injured, possibly due to smoke inhalation, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I would guess. I'd hope they weren't burnt because we haven't actually had that many of laptop fires and battery fires recently. Touch wood, because we did have a rash of them when lithium-ion batteries started to be widely used. I think the construction and the safety features that most electronic devices now have probably improved over the years, so which is great. But you still get the odd ones, so we still have to be careful out there.
Yep. Yes, we do. All right, moving on to the next item, another video. This is the narrative here from aviationherald.com. A SkyWest Embraer ERJ-175 on behalf of United Registration 619 Uniform X-Ray, performing flight 5326 from Burbank, California to San Francisco, California, had been cleared to line up on runway 33, then waited in position for about 2 minutes. A Mesa Airlines Canadair CRJ-900 on behalf of American Airlines, registration 954 Lima Romeo, performing flight 5826 from Phoenix to Burbank, California, was on final approach to runway 33 when Tower advised a departure was in position and would take off before them and instructed them to continue. A private aircraft on approach also to runway 33 got too close to the CRJ-900 and was instructed to go around. About 2 minutes after the 175 had been cleared to line up on runway 33, Tower cleared the aircraft for takeoff and in the same sentence cleared the CRJ-900 to land. The CRJ-900, however, initiated a go-around and was instructed to turn left. The crew reported receiving a TCAS RA. The Embraer 175 was instructed to continue their climb and was later instructed to turn left after the aircraft was clear of the conflict. The Embraer 175 continued to their destination. The CRJ-900 joined a downwind and landed on runway 33 about 12 minutes after the go-around. Okay, so we do have some video, as I mentioned, so let me play that. We'll hear the live ATC audio. VAS Aviation, once again, for the win. Real aviation communications. And by the way, I encourage you, dear listener, to visit on YouTube the VAS Aviation YouTube channel. It's awesome. We like them a lot, and a lot of hard work being done over there, and we appreciate that.
Absolutely.
All right, so we have some...
Number 47 Charlie, runway 26, clear to land, 1 variable exit.
26, clear to land, 47 Charlie.
Okay,
And number 47 Charlie, traffic will hold in position on runway 33.
47 Charlie.
Skies 5326, Burbank Tower.
Skies 5326, rep.
Skies 5326, turn right onto runway 33, back taxi as necessary, runway 33, line up and wait.
Turn on to runway 33, back taxi is necessary, SkyWest 5326, line up and wait.
Burbank Tower, show 5826 on the visual, runway 33.
Southwest 2250, right turn, next taxiway, contact ground 123.9, have a good day.
Right turn ground, Southwest 2250, good.
Air Shuttle 5826, Burbank Tower, traffic zone in position, runway 33, continue.
33, continue, Air show 5826.
Burbank information, Kilo is now turn runway 815, correction 2633 in use, and Burbank altimeter 29er 89er. Police 100, runway 26 on the numbers, clear to land, hold short of 33.
26 on the numbers, clear to land, hold short of 33, please 100.
November 47 Charlie, go around and turn base for runway 33. You're going to be following a regional jet on a 2-mile final.
47 Charlie going around.
That's a light aircraft.
And on 47 Charlie, start your crosswind turn now, please.
Was that a right crosswind for 47 Charlie?
Left crosswind. Left crosswind.
Left crosswind, thank you. 47 Charlie.
Burbank Tower, Twin Star 704 Alpha Bravo over El Monte, looking for a transition through your airspace.
2623, clear for takeoff.
33, clear for takeoff. Sky was 6326.
58, 2623, clear to land.
Okay, it's pretty tight.
Out. Air Shuttle 5826, affirmative, runway 33, clear to land.
You up the runway yet?
No, we're going around.
I'm just pausing this right now. I think this is what the RH and AG refer to as a squeeze play, trying to get the aircraft cleared for takeoff and rolling down the runway for takeoff and working out so that the aircraft on final is touching down after the
What height is the
previous
airplane that's going around?
What's that?
I can't quite see the display. What height is the aircraft that is just called he's going around?
I'm not sure. Here, let me hit play again and see if we might be able to see it more clearly.
Air Shuttle 5826, roger. Climb and maintain 4,000, fly runway heading.
1,100 or 1,000 feet?
What was the altitude?
4,000.
I think it got down to about 1,000 feet. Okay, in this video, the real silence is not trimmed. So this is real time.
5326, Air Shuttle 5826, turn right heading 270. Left 270.
Left 270, Shuttle 5826.
Burbank Tower, Twin Star 704 Alpha Bravo, looking for a VFR transition to Van Nuys.
Stand by.
Got something going on here.
Yeah, that's right.
1,600 feet is the air shuttle going around. And
Skies 5326, continue on the SID.
Continue on the SID, Sky 6326.
now, I'm not sure why she said this, because I think the SID is going to take it in the same direction as the person going around. Let's see what happens here.
Air Shuttle 5826, continue your climb.
Continuing the climb, Air Shuttle 5826.
Like, keep climbing, please. We need the separation. So now we're looking at a couple parallel.
Air Shuttle 5826, do you have the Embraer Insight 2500 off your right?
Negative, we got an RA, we're complying with it.
Air Shuttle 5826, roger, turn right 30 degrees. Left 30 degrees.
Left turn 30 degrees, Air Shuttle
Those are
5826.
left and right. Confused.
Skies 5326, contact SoCal 120.4.
123.4, Sky was 5326.
120.4.
04, Sky was 5326.
Okay.
Tower 47 Charlie, I'm sorry. Can you just want to give me vectors?
Hello. What do you want to do with me here? I'm on the south side.
November 47 Charlie, do you not want to land anymore? November 47 Charlie, runway 33, clear to land. Air Shuttle 5826, fly heading 190.
Heading 190, Shuttle 5826.
Air Shuttle 5826, contact SoCal on 120.4.
20.4, Shuttle 5826.
Number 4 Sierra Charlie 1260 at 9er, gusting to 15, one-way 33, clear to land.
33, clear land, 47 Charlie.
And Tower, Twin Star 704 Alpha Bravo. I know you guys are busy just looking for a VFR transition to the south to Van Nuys.
November 704 Alpha Bravo, Burbank Tower, Burbank altimeter 2989er, squawk 0243.
I don't think there's anything else significant on the rest of this video. The light airplane, the wind, that's like a 15 knot crosswind. That seems kind of challenging. I think it was originally lined up for the runway 26, which is pretty much into the wind. But because of the traffic being put on the runway for takeoff and the traffic coming in to land on runway 33, the tower controller said, yeah, this is not going to work. Let's get this GA traffic out of the way and set up for landing on 33. But the critical thing here is, I don't know if the aircraft on the runway just took too long. We've had that situation recently. or what. But again, a squeeze play was attempted and it just didn't work out. And so that's why she had to direct the air shuttle. Actually, did the air shuttle decide to go around on its own?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
I'm pretty certain it did. Which is why I was asking its height, because, I don't know, I've done go-arounds at 50 feet. And, you know, going around 1,000 feet, you know, there's still a considerable time and distance for you to make sure that it is absolutely necessary. I'm not suggesting you wait all the way to 50 feet, but you might give the squeeze play a chance to play out, as it were, for a little longer and see if it is going to work, because I got the impression that they might have jumped in there a little bit quick.
Yeah, I think so. It may have worked out, but in the opinion of the flight crew on the air shuttle flight, they decided that that wasn't going to work out.
Yeah, and no problem with that whatsoever. But the air trafficker's probably pretty experienced, and you know, you could carry on for another 600 feet, probably. That's another 2 miles, just to see what's going to happen, because, you know, she does it all the time. You know, we're not quite so practiced at estimating whether the aircraft departing is going to give it enough room. If she doesn't think it's going to work, she'll probably send you around anyway. So, I mean, I'm not criticizing the crew for doing it. You always take what you think is the safest action. But, of course, the safest action, this resulted in an RA, which is not at all safe.
You had to figure out, okay, if I go around, what is that going to mean for me now? Because that airplane's taking off, and they're going to be climbing right up into my flight path.
And right under my belly, and I'm not going to be able to see them.
I'm not going to be able to see them, which they could not. They only got the TCAS RA. Yeah, I agree with you, Nick. I mean, sometimes it may not be optimum and completely legal, but in this case, it wouldn't be your fault. It would be the tower controller's fault. But, you know, I think, in my opinion, the safety ramification is much more significant if you go around from that point than if you just continue to landing.
Yeah. Exactly. But having said that, in no way would I criticize the crew, because, you know, that is their right to do a go-around. If at any point they don't think, pardon me, they're going to have clearance.
Yep, you're right. Okay, technical pause. Liz, you want to say something? Yeah, I think we should probably stop covering the news and go to a quick getting to know us segment, and then play the plane tale. Yeah, good call. Okay, that's what we'll do. Okay, so I'm getting back into the flow. All right, well, interesting discussion regarding go-arounds and continuing landing with a tight clearance and such. And we are going to go ahead and find out what has been going on with Captain Nick, or getting to know Captain Nick segment. There he is in the middle there, without a funny hat, like all the rest of us on the crew.
I thought that was pretty funny.
We don't think it's
a beanie hat.
Oh, you think so? Yeah, but not. Yeah, okay. It's not ridiculous like all the other hats that we have.
No, that's true. Yeah, I'll give you that. All right.
Well, what have you been up to, Captain Nick, sir?
Well, I've been doing a fair amount of work at the computer, and you know, one of the dreadful things about becoming aged is that your muscles and your shoulders and everything else tends to cramp up. So I couldn't do much work yesterday because my back went into spasm around my neck, and my whole neck and shoulders. Horrible. So I was popping pills all yesterday. But while I was doing that, I was thinking I won't work at the computer. But then I suddenly realized, leafing through, you know, on the iPad, that Facebook said, "Oh, you've been, you know, your password's been reset," and I couldn't get in. And I'm going, why can't I get into Facebook? So I requested new passwords and reset it. Then I noticed in my email I had some threatening email from someone who said he'd hacked into my email account. Unless I paid up a bunch of money, he was going to activate a virus which he'd had embedded in my computer.
Nick, I'm sorry. That was me, and I just thought it was a funny joke to play on. Right?
Yeah,
I
very
didn't know
good.
you would think it was serious.
Serious, yeah. All right, very good.
No,
so I don't have to worry about it. That's okay then.
Yeah, don't worry.
So, but I mean, it came from my own email account to my own email account. So I'm going, that's odd. Anyway,
you're sending yourself email. Okay.
Exactly. So I had that in the back of my mind. Then my Instagram account went down, and I'm going, oh my God, what's going on here? So I spent the whole day trying to fix and redo all the security for everything, even though I've got pretty good passwords, and I use additional security like a secondary requirement, like using your phone or whatever.
Do you use like password 12345?
That's the one. Password.
I knew it.
No, I use the password because no one will ever think of that.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
I thought so. Anyway, that's been an absolute nightmare. So if you if you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, or you send me emails, then things may not be going very smoothly and for a while. I actually, when I woke up this morning, discovered that Facebook had actually shut down my page because of someone the person who had got onto it had posted half a dozen ISIS terrorist pictures on my Facebook account.
I warned you about that, Captain Nick. Stop posting the ISIS terrorist.
Yeah, I know. It's just they're such a nice bunch of guys. But yeah, so I had to convince Facebook that I didn't do it, and I promised not to do it again, even though I didn't do it. So it's been a bit of a nightmare. So, I was thinking to myself after a while, I'm just going to get rid of these accounts. What do I need them for? More hassle than you can shake a stick at. But I haven't. I've managed to get most working again. I'm just going to see if this low life is going to give me any more hassle. So we'll wait and see. In the meantime, I have been having great fun. Our new dog has been spayed, and during the period after the operation, we've not been allowed to exercise her, and she's a very young and energetic dog, so not giving her exercise just to stop the operation from coming apart around her insides. She has turned into an absolute monster dog. She's going around bullying everybody and biting everybody, play biting everybody, and getting way too energetic. So we're going to have to try and get her out for some walks. Now we're allowed to walk her. We're going to walk her a double time for a while. So that's been upsetting everyone, especially our older dogs who are not used to having a hooligan like this around.
Do you have a tranquilizer pistol handy?
Well, funny enough, the vet gave us some pills, which worked pretty well.
Now, do you know that you're supposed to give them to your dog and you're not supposed to take them?
Oh, damn. I was enjoying the sleep I was getting. Very relaxed. All my muscles went limp. This is great. Yeah. Anyway, that's been it, really. Not much else to say other than take a look at next week's cover art because for this show, because it's an intriguing program, and I'll tell you a little bit about it. Jeff discovered it, and you type in keywords and then watch it generate. What's the artificial intelligence generate an image depending on what you've requested. Very, very interesting. Called Midjourney. All one word, midjourney.com. And if you get a spare moment, go onto their website and have a play. It takes you a little while to get your head around how to set it up. But the results are fascinating. We'll see. Anyway.
Yeah.
Talking of artwork, do you want me to talk about last week's?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it came from the discussion about the reporter who thought that the thrust reverser holes gap in the jet engine was actually damage that had caused I think it was a Quaint-Arse aircraft, wasn't it, to land with an engine failure. And of course, it wasn't. The picture that he ascribed to this engine damage was just the reversers working. So we all know what they are. But just to help the general public and more importantly, the press, we put a picture up describing the A-hole, which is loosely around the intake, but more importantly, pointing at the reporter.
Yes.
And, and the B-hole, of course, is the reverser, and the C-hole is the jet pipe. So we thought that was quite funny.
Yeah, that's very informative and helpful, I think. For
That's right, for any press people out there.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to find the show number, look on the little newspaper he's got under his arm.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I see it. Very subtle, yeah.
There you go.
All right. Very nice. Yes. A-hole, B-hole, C-hole.
That's the one.
Title of our last
All
show.
the ones.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, don't be an A-hole.
No, definitely don't be an A-hole. You can be a B-hole or a C-hole, though.
Yeah, that's acceptable. Just try to stay away. 35 minutes. Okay. Oh, well, I think I really don't have anything to add to what I mentioned at the beginning of the show, really. I'm just between trips. I go back out on Monday evening, which is not normal for. So, my favorite first officer, Brent, and I are flying together a lot lately, and because we enjoy each other's company.
Have you started holding hands yet?
Well, I don't want to really talk about that yet. There's going to be an announcement at some point. But Brent's wife, Judy, really hasn't been informed yet, so we want to make sure.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Take care of all that behind the scenes. No, but Brent's a good friend, and we so for March, because it's not going to be much longer before he does his upgrade training, and I won't be able to fly with him anymore because he's going to be a captain on this airplane. And so I've been, kind of letting him do the bidding of the trips. And as you know, I've mentioned it many times, I don't like flying at night. I just would rather fly during the day. And I think 4 out of the 5 flights that we're flying together this month are at night, that first leg. But there's a good reason for it, because, for instance, this trip that we're flying on Monday night, one leg to Burlington, Vermont, and then that's it. And then we're off all day the next day, Tuesday, which is Liz's birthday, by the way. And Wednesday, one leg, I believe, back to Atlanta. So it's like 2 flights over a 3-day period, which is a great average. So it's like worth from, flying at night for that one leg. But I said, there better not be weather, Brent. Otherwise, you're flying the airplane for that leg. Anywho, so that's my next trip for next month or next week. Actually, I may have more than one trip. I think there's another trip that we fly on Thursday and Friday as well.
Yeah,
but,
one trip a week would be just...
Wouldn't that be nice?
Extracting the urine, that one.
I'm going to be also... So that's Burlington on Monday night and Tuesday night. And then on Thursday night, I'll be in Jackson, Mississippi for our trip at the end of the week. All right, so that's really it for me. I'll be singing tomorrow and Sunday, and as I normally do. And now you're all caught up with that.
Hey, man, Micah has reminded us that a couple of our friends are having birthdays, by the way.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah, Pip's is today.
Oh.
So happy birthday,
happy birthday, Pip.
And
Captain Al as well?
On Sunday. So.
On Sunday, Captain Al.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Your pal, our pal, Captain Al. Love
Absolutely. Well,
All right.
happy birthday, both.
And by the way, the Plane Safety Podcast is another great aviation podcast that you need to check out.
It's ideal for people who don't really like podcasts because it only comes out once a year.
Well, you don't want to get too jammed up with having to listen to a podcast.
You definitely won't with Pip's podcast.
It's really good fun, though. Those guys.
Oh, it is.
Really,
I always
really
enjoy
people.
them. It's a shame they don't come out more often.
Yeah, they need to come out more often.
I loved it when his suitcase got stuck up a tree.
Yeah, how does that happen? That's
yeah, exactly. Only in Russia, apparently.
All right, coffee fun time.
Johnny, how about some more coffee?
How about some more coffee? I'll take some. Thank you. Love coffee. I love tea. I love the APG community. Coffee and tea and the Java and me. A cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup. Oh, yeah. Coffee Fund. Your way to support our show financially if you have the resources to do so. And a couple different ways to do that. One is the Coffee Fund Classic method, which is basically a PayPal donation page. And Victoria Cooley, Kulli, Cooley, I'm going to say. Victoria, thank you so much for your very generous donation. We do appreciate it. She added a note and said, I hope to become a patron at some point soon. So thank you, Victoria. We do appreciate we appreciate the females in aviation and the female enthusiasts out there that listen to our show. So thanks. Appreciate that. And also, Patreon, not patronize. That's something entirely different. Patreon is another way to support our show. You can become a patron. And, well, I mentioned him on the last episode because I almost forgot about just shortly before we recorded the last show. Michael signed up to be a producer, Michael Allen Newman, but I didn't have a graphic for him, so I thought, I owe that to you, man. So there you go. Michael Allen Newman, a new patron via patreon.com. So please check it out by heading over to airlinepilotguy.com/coffee and consider becoming part of the Coffee Bar Fund, Coffee Bar Club. There we go. You'll be glad you did, and we will too. All right. Okay. All right. So control room's telling me we have about a half an hour left, and we need to put that plane tail in this segment. And so without further ado, I'm going to navigate to our plane tail for this week. And here we go. The old pilot has a plane tail for us called Great Uncle Baz. Here we go. Oh, no. Here we go.
The old pilot's plane tales. Great Uncle Baz. In the United States, the very country that proudly claimed to be the birthplace of powered flight, early aviation had not progressed quite as fast as might have been expected. Aircraft manufacturers in Europe, boosted by the need to develop credible air forces for the approaching war, had stolen a march on American aviators. Not to say that those like the Wright brothers and Glenn Curtiss weren't prospering, but even for them the European enthusiasm for aircraft and flying schools offered more opportunities. In those early days, the challenges that aviators took on were really about breaking records of speed and height, often to win prizes. Pilots participated in county fairs or even just out on farmers' fields performing risky maneuvers for both the thrill of the danger, the adulation of the crowds, and of course for money. The crowds attended such events not just for the spectacle, but undoubtedly for the thrill of a possible crash, of which there were plenty. Performing aerobatics in those early fragile flying machines was risky in the extreme. The newspapers stirred a frenzy of public interest into a wildfire and then fanned the flames by offering enormous sums of money to competing pilots. Galbraith Rogers attempted to win and offered $50,000 by flying across the entire country in 30 days. Accidents, bad weather and navigation difficulties ensured that the prize would remain unclaimed by Rogers, but he did complete the journey, only to die in an accident at Long Beach during a demonstration when he was hit by a flock of seagulls. As the presence of an airplane became more mundane, increasingly dangerous stunts were required to bring the big crowds. Wing walking became popular, which graduated to handstands on the wing, hanging off them and then jumping between two aircraft. Groups of aviators became flying circuses within which they took enormous risks, but the rewards of perhaps $1,500 a day overcame any reluctance. Lincoln Beachey was one such performer, who became famous for his stunts such as flying at 20 feet over the Niagara Falls under the Honeymoon Bridge. Even President Wilson became involved when Beechey buzzed the White House before flying past the Washington Monument upside down. He eventually crashed performing at an international exposition in San Francisco when the wings of his machine fell off, sending the Daredevil plunging to his death. In Europe, military aviation was already well developed when the war broke out, and the urgency to develop this new aspect of warfare ensured that it evolved at a fast pace. No such drive existed in the United States, as there was a strong desire to remain neutral. When the war started, the 1st Aero Squadron of the U.S. Signal Corps had only 6 Curtiss Jenny aircraft. 12 officers and 224 enlisted men, and it was woefully unprepared for the kind of mechanized war that was being fought in France with its barbed wire tanks, trenches and artillery. The Germans had embarked on total war, with their submarines torpedoing neutral American merchant ships, their Zeppelins bombing centres of population in England, and using poison gas against troops and civilians alike in Belgium. The belligerents were making good use of their aircraft and technology, with advances such as synchronized machine guns firing through the propeller arc, quality cameras capable of oblique panoramas. Artillery spotting had developed into a fine art, as had reconnaissance and harassing the enemy with aerial bombardment and strafing. The aircraft that conducted such missions were often vulnerable, but they were now escorted by nimble and well-armed scout aircraft that could protect them from enemy attack. In addition, the observers who performed the practical duties required during such missions could protect themselves with rearward-firing machine guns. It was into this world that the story of listener Sam Dawson's great uncle comes. Baz Bagby had been a professional baseball catcher in the minor leagues before he enrolled into MIT, graduating as a mechanical engineer before he responded to the call to arms as America joined the war. The World War had started 3 years earlier, and the United States had remained largely neutral, but eventually German atrocities in Belgium, the sinking of the passenger liner RMS Lusitania, and a year-long campaign by President Woodrow Wilson were enough to sway public opinion. In particular, when British intelligence made public a secret offer by the German Empire to help Mexico regain territory lost during the Mexican-American War, the people of the United States finally saw a need to join the Allied forces embattled in France. Baz's application to the Officer Candidate School in Artillery was successful, but after completing his training and emerging as a second lieutenant, he became keen to transfer from artillery to flying, telling his family he believed the Air Corps was destined to be the largest factor in winning the war. He was repeatedly turned down for pilot training, mainly as there was a greater need for observers, and after a few months' wait, he was shipped out, arriving in France in early March 1918. Little did he know his war experience was only going to last 9 months. He was well trained by a French unit and became the only American observer on his intake that was sent to a French escadrille, a small squadron. It was when in action he began to really understand the value of the work he was doing as an observer. During the next few months, he flew 111 missions in SPADs and Breguets, usually over enemy territory, acting as the aircraft's gunner, bombardier, photographer, and artillery liaison, often under the protection of fighter aircraft, so that his pilot could fly the steady routes he needed to carry out his mapping and reconnaissance duties. Whilst he yearned to become a pilot himself, Baz had realized that his work was essential to the commanders below fighting in the trenches. It wasn't long before one of the primitive aircraft he was flying in suffered an engine failure after takeoff. Without much height, they were forced to land ahead in a wheat field, whereupon their SPAD turned turtle, and he ended up hanging in his straps upside down, but unhurt. He and his pilot extracted themselves from the aircraft, whereupon his companion said, as he straightened his fine moustache, "C'est la guerre, Bagby. Donnez-moi une cigarette." It wasn't until he was transferred to an American unit that Baz received his first commendation for his coolness and devotion to duty, when he brought down an enemy aircraft whilst fighting a formation of 8 German machines. He found it odd that the observation duties he performed were deemed less important than the downing of a single aircraft, noting that photos of the Bosch back areas were more valuable and saved many lives, but there was no glory attached to it. "I've gotten more credit for simply downing a Bosch than for all the rest of my work put together," he said. During his time with the 88th Air Squadron, Baz often flew with his friend, Lieutenant Bernie Bernheimer, and it was after overhearing a senior officer complaining that he couldn't get photos of the Meuse River bridges because of bad weather that Baz and Bernie took it upon themselves to accomplish the flight. On the way back, they strafed an airfield, shot up some trucks, some artillery being moved, and a bunch of other vehicles. They were the only aircraft out in such bad weather and caught the sharp end of their commander's tongue, but the chief of the 3rd Air Service remarked, "Bernheimer and Bagby are at it again, are they? Good work." And they were both awarded the Distinguished Service Cross, which Baz added to his wartime collection of awards, medals and commendations, which included the Croix de Guerre. After serving in France for 9 months, the armistice was signed and Baz became a member of the occupying forces, playing baseball, flying around, photographing the countryside, and fulfilling his long-time ambition of learning to become a pilot. His logbook tells of wonderful solo flights over Paris and Luxembourg, winging his aircraft around the sky, and of the inevitable rough landings which seemed to be his stock in trade. The joy of flying had infected Baz, and he had decided to remain in the military so long as it was in the air service. Returning home from the war, Baz found America struggling with its difficulties, a few of which were prohibition, race riots, lynchings and the Great Migration, labor unrest and the fear of Bolshevism. But Baz wasn't the only returning war hero. Arguably the greatest was Brigadier General Billy Mitchell. During the war, Mitchell had proved himself a master tactician and devoted supporter of air power, and on his return he was determined to advance its cause in any way possible. He had arguably done more to demonstrate the military potential of the aircraft than any other American, for which he would one day be recognized as the father of the United States Air Force. But his work was clouded by uncertainty. With the signing of the armistice, the government had cancelled virtually all of its orders for new machines, forcing a number of manufacturers out of business. Enter the Great Transcontinental Air Race, officially named the First Transcontinental Reliability and Endurance Test. With Congressional Air Service budget hearings imminent, Mitchell planned the contest in hopes that such a widely publicized spectacle would boost interest in aviation throughout the United States. It became a headline-grabbing spectacle in which military pilots would compete over a distance of 5,402 miles. competitors would start either in San Francisco on the west coast or Long Island in the east, and had to complete flights that would take them via at least 20 nominated airfields to the opposite coast and back again. The aircraft competed for various prizes: shortest elapsed time, shortest total time, speed, endurance, and handicap, but the press were only interested in one: the first to get there. Commanding officers nominated the participating aircrew, and Baz Bagby was one of the lucky ones, along with his friend Lieutenant Colonel John Reynolds. As the aircraft started arriving at their departure points, the dangers of aviation even in 1919 were being demonstrated. After departing Bingham for Long Island, one aircraft encountered heavy fog near Point Jervis, crashed and killed the pilot. Another died in an accident at Deposit, but elsewhere 2 men survived, crashing in flames, and another pair were pulled alive from the waters of Lake Erie. It was destined to be a grueling race, fraught with mechanical failures, bad weather, over 50 crashes, and a total of 9 deaths. Of the 62 entries, only 8 would complete the race. The start was staggered, with the most senior officers somehow departing first, the last aircraft leaving hours later. Baz and John were number 26 to leave Roosevelt Field on Long Island, now a large shopping mall, which delayed them about 3 hours. But after all the razzmatazz, bands, aerobatic displays by General Mitchell, and speeches, it was good to get on their way. The Assistant Secretary of War expressed a wish to fly, so a pilot and aircraft were found, but his flight only lasted a few seconds when Captain Cleary had a career-stopping engine failure, which ended up cartwheeling his machine into a ball of wreckage. Luckily, both emerged safe, if a little shaken. Flights for the competitors lasted a little more than an hour each, and every staging airfield supposedly had fuel and would log their time on the ground, a minimum of 30 minutes. On day 1, Baz made it as far as Buffalo, where they were held since it was getting a bit dark, but they used the time to make repairs that may have well prevented a forced landing later on. However, Maynard, the leader, had made it as far as Chicago. Other pilots hadn't been so lucky, and 4 of the Eastern aircraft had already dropped out with a variety of problems, such as a fire and a DH-4 with an engine failure that crashed, killing the mechanic and injuring the pilot. There was a smaller send-off from Presidio Field in San Francisco, and there the intrepid pilots had to climb out of the fog to tackle the hazardous Sierra Nevada and Rockies. But with only 14 planes, their departure was achieved in only a quarter of an hour. What faced the Western pilots was a wall of mountains, but they were more used to the blinding snow, whereas those pilots from the East would struggle to get over them. Even so, Lieutenant Rice was forced to land his SE-5 in a farmer's field, wrecking his aircraft and chances of competing. Accidents continued to plague the competitors, with Sergeant McClure dying during a landing. It was common for the second occupant of a DH-4 machine to clamber out and sit on the rear fuselage during landing to prevent it from nosing over in the muddy conditions on most fields, a maneuver that often shook the fuel tank free, killing the pilot. McClure had unbuckled his harness, ready to climb out, when a bump threw him from his aircraft. Another co-pilot who did this was catapulted from the tail far into the air when the machine tipped over anyway. He was lucky to survive, but accidents resulting from this risky procedure were common. Crossing the vast continent, with weather and terrain a major factor, there were more incidents than I could ever recount here, both to our hero, Baz, and the others who took part. But eventually the press named Belvin Maynard the winner when he was the first to arrive at his destination, San Francisco, regardless that the others who departed Roosevelt Field after him might have completed the distance at a faster speed. However, the city gave him a hearty welcome and a magnificent luncheon, even though the race was actually only half completed. The first to land at Roosevelt Field was declared to be Major Carl Sparks, despite the fact that a lower-ranking racer landed 20 seconds before him. Most competitors that made it across in either direction were exhausted, and many didn't attempt the return journey. But some brave souls were determined to, including Baz Bagby, who had arrived in San Francisco in 9th place. Those that did set off to complete the double crossing were brave men, since they and their machines were very tired. The route was now pockmarked by wrecked aircraft, and as the death toll rose, the newspapers were criticizing the inadequacy of the air service's equipment. Out of the field entrance, only 8 finished the round trip. 6 from the east, including Baz Bagby, and 2 from the west. The first man to land in both directions was Belvin Maynard, but the shortest flight time was actually achieved by Second Lieutenant Alexander Pearson in a DH-4, with a total flight time of 48 hours and 14 minutes. There were few tangible rewards, but 10 years after the race, Baz and others received a gold medallion honouring their participation. Had the race achieved its aim for Billy Mitchell's Independent Air Force? Sadly not. And the old guard in the Army and Navy denied the argument, stating that an Air Force acting independently could of its own accord neither win a war at the present time, nor, so far as they could tell, at any time in the future. But that, of course, is not the end of the story, and what happened next might well be the subject of another tale. With thanks to listener Sam Dawson and Betty Gorky, the author of the book about Baz Bagby, A Broken Propeller.
What a tease you are.
We'll have to wait to see if I get round to writing the history of the formation of the United States Air Force. But anyway, my great thanks to Sam for the lovely book, A Broken Propeller, and his super little note that he left in there, which was brilliant. Came as a surprise. And he, despite the fact that he said it's not exactly Ernest Hemingway, I thought it was a great read. So if our lovely librarian wants to perhaps consider putting this forward, it's A Broken Propeller, Baz Bagby and America's First Transcontinental Air Race by Betty Gorky. So it was good, a good story. There were so many interesting nuggets of information in there, but I just couldn't get it all in. It was such a shame, but there you go. I did my best.
Oh, you did a grand job, and perhaps we're going to hear some more about what happened.
Well, absolutely, because Lieutenant Colonel Bagby, as he ended up, fought in the Second World War as well.
Oh.
The family story about that is quite remarkable, because he went AWOL. Not as you think, to go back home or go and see his wife or something, so that he could embark on a parachute drop over France on D-Day. I thought that was brilliant. So, yeah, well done to him. He survived, though, which is great.
And the questioning of whether or not an independent Air Force was going to be something that could be, effective and successful, I think I know the answer to that one.
Yeah, I think we all do. But it took until the end of the Second World War before it happened.
Well, yeah. Sometimes great things take time.
Exactly.
All right. Very good. Okay. Yeah, I think we should, let's try to knock out at least one piece of feedback.
Absolutely.
Number 3. Okay. So we're getting close to the allotted time for part 2 of this hot mess And we're going to do at least one of these pieces of feedback. And this one's from David, November Z2. The one thing about the, I'm sorry, New Zealand flight number 2 returned to Auckland when JFK had the fire, which is missed in the articles, adds context to the return, is that NZ had just suffered, New Zealand had just suffered the most destructive cyclone in history. This included all Air New Zealand flights to and from Auckland being canceled for over 24 hours. So there were over 6,000 passengers with canceled flights. As part of the recovery, they had all of the operational spares in use. So a plane stuck at an outstation would result in many more flights being canceled and have a big cascading delay. The 200 passengers on the plane would turn into thousands affected. Returning 200 passengers minimized the impact. The ops center was looking at the big picture. Also, look at the recent Southwest meltdown. When you have weather-related irregular operations, don't fly planes to cities where there isn't a rested crew to fly it on schedule, as the issues will just cascade. Good point.
Well,
David.
that's fascinating because I was curious. There had to be a reason why they turned that airplane around. Only nearly halfway through its flight, so it flew a 16-hour.
Yeah, 8 hours into the flight, they turned around. So.
Yeah,
wow.
And now we know, and I appreciate that, David. And I'm sure the captain, once someone had told him what was going on, was happy to return it to New Zealand.
Maybe not happily, but
no, perhaps not. Well, he's getting paid regardless, isn't he? Yeah. He's going to miss a chance to date his girlfriend in New York.
I know, his little honey in New York.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Girl in every port and a port in every girl.
So I was asking somebody, like the flights that Acme has from Atlanta and New York to Sao Paulo, Brazil. I'm thinking, every flight that you're flying down there is in the middle of the night, and you're going through the intertropical convergence zone.
Yeah, not
at
nice.
both times, and they're both at night. And I'm thinking, man, that must be a junior trip. And I was talking to a person who flies the aircraft, and he goes, well, I said, what? He goes, well, yes and no. I said, you have a group of people who are very senior who do it, and a group of people that are very junior because they don't really want to do it, but they have to because they're junior. And I said, what? Come again? He goes, well, those little young ladies in South Brazil, or they, I guess people have, some relationships or something with them. Yeah.
Possibly. Who knows?
Possibly. I don't know. I don't know anything about it. It's a good thing I didn't fly international. Okay. I'll just leave it there. Okay.
Well, I did, but I was squeaky clean.
Well, you're a man of integrity.
How do you spell that again?
Integrity. Integrity, I think.
I'm sure I'm one of those, yes.
Yes, you are. And you have somebody very important to always return to.
Absolutely.
With a clean conscience. A lovely lady. All right. And 4. Okay. We're going to do this, and then we're going to stop part 2 of this 3-part series. This is from Ben. Also from, I don't know if David was from down under. I'm guessing he was. But I know for sure that Ben is, because he signs it Ben from Australia. Just some feedback regarding Qantas's accident record. I think that's the way you say that, Qantas.
Yes, that's the proper pronunciation.
While it is true that they indeed have never lost a jet, he put in all caps, a jet. They have lost propeller aircraft in the past, with 14 fatal accidents between 1927 and 1951, including 2 short
That's interesting.
S-23 Empire flying boats shot down by the
think
Japanese.
I've been victim of Qantas's publication, the
you
publicity.
Might have. Marketing is really...
marketing, yeah, exactly.
The PR people are very successful. The last hull loss was an L-1049 Super Constellation that crashed during a rejected takeoff in Mauritius, I think.
Mauritius, yes.
Mauritius in 1960.
We used to operate down there. Lovely place.
Oh, no fatalities in this case, but they did lose the Lockheed. Something that is not widely known is that a Qantas 747 had a near mid-air collision with a U.S. Air Force C-5 over Thailand in 1990. Apparently, the C-5 missed them by about 50 feet in a head-on pass at 37,000 feet.
Wow.
Ooh, that's
make
close.
your eyes water, wouldn't it?
Oh, no kidding.
Golly gosh.
Let's see. Of interest is the Reddit thread. It has some great pictures, one of which we're showing right now in our video, of the restoration to a flying condition, rumored to cost in excess of 100 million Australian dollars, of OJH, the 747-400, involved in the Bangkok runway overrun. And you know what? I had planned to share these images, which are pretty impressive. We'll go through some right now, and let me go over here. And
well, that one's impressive enough.
Yep.
So we're not too sure if their claim of the world's safest airline is truly justified. Is that what we're saying there?
Well,
Ben?
I don't know. Have they claimed that they're the safest, or they just never have lost a
Well,
whole
a bit of both, really, I think.
Oh, have they? Okay. Well, maybe.
But perhaps he's right. Perhaps they say they've never lost a jet.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And they went through great effort to, restore and repair.
Huge expense.
Salvage this airplane here, which I'm going to add to the stream here. So this is the Reddit page. And so let me go back to Reddit and see if I can get this into a bigger... Oh, nope. Nope. Okay. Well, anyway, so that's the one we were... Look at that. That looks sad, doesn't it?
Oh, golly.
747 with the inboard engine.
Oh, look at all the wrinkles on the skin there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
That's not good.
Wow. You should have just turned left and carried on down that road.
Oh, hello.
Oh, golly gosh.
The big nose of the aircraft on a roadway. And
wow.
A lot of wheels and tires buried in the mud. Probably lucky that it was kind of muddy, that they, the end of the runway that they kind of went through. So there are several pictures. That's not it. That's a Antonov. I guess they used the Antonov to take some of the pieces of this aircraft and fly it back to Australia.
Golly.
And
what a job that must have been, to take that apart, fly it home, and then fix it and put it all back together again.
Now, I think I read somewhere in this that said that a new one to replace it would have been like twice as much, 200 million. Look at that. Look at all these wiring harnesses and everything else they have to put all back together. I mean, that is amazing to me, that they basically took the airplane apart, shipped it back to Australia, and then basically remade it like a Frankenstein. 747. And apparently this thing flew for many, many years after they rebuilt it. So I'll put a link to this in the show notes if you want to take a look. They did good work. Yes, they did.
Wow.
Anyway.
Hats off to the engineers. That's a hell of a job. Is that the captain there getting his license back?
I'm not sure. I don't see any captions here. I don't know what's going on here. Yeah, that might be
perhaps that's the bill.
That, or it could be the bill, or it could be the arrest documentation. He's going to be put in jail for the rest of his life. Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, we'll put a link to this Reddit article. Thank you.
Great article.
Yeah, very much, Ben, for sending that in.
Yeah, thanks for all that interesting information. That proved me to be a complete liar, but there you go.
Well, no, I think you're not a liar. You just succumbed to, as most of us did, the rhetoric and the marketing,
the publicity, yes,
double speak,
exactly.
and made some assumptions, I guess. All right, that's going to be it for part 2. Thank you so much, Captain Nick, for joining us today.
My pleasure.
And we look forward to seeing the art for the show, and we'll talk about it on the next episode. And until then, have a great weekend. Please say hi to Jilly and the dogs, and Liz. Thanks again for all the help behind the scenes.
Thanks,
My
Liz.
pleasure.
Great job with the plain tail.
Oh, thanks,
Yeah.
Nick.
And that's going to
On
do
to
it
part
for
3.
part 2, and look forward to part 3 very soon.
Yeah, have fun with Rick.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Recorder's off.
Trying to find the StreamYard.
check.
There it is. I found the window that you guys are in.
You from the flight deck has a question here, Jeff.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I have some
Oh, not
wrinkles in
that
my
one.
skin. Oh.
Well, that wasn't that was.
So will we see Atlanta GRU on the B-side? No. We'd have to make several fueling stops to make it all the way down to Sao Paulo.
Sao Paulo.
St. Paul.
Yes.
And nope, you're not going to be seeing me doing anything like that. Although I love the women of the world, all of them.
So just so everyone in the chat knows, we're part 3. We're planning on 8:00 Eastern on Sunday evening. So we'll be posting notices and stuff. But if you got nothing better to do, join us.
And when the actual episode is published, will probably be. I'll try to get it out on Monday as I normally do, but might be Tuesday. But we'll see.
Well, you'll have time up there in Burlington to.
Yep.
I just tried to share screen, but it didn't work.
Oh yeah. Well, no, it's there. It's just you have to go to the StreamYard page and then hit add to stream.
We both clicked it.
There we go.
There we go.
Oh, I got it. There you go. Isn't that amazing? Created by an AI.
Amazing.
I love it.
It really is.
The preview of the next artwork. Ooh.
Look at that
I think
mustache.
I could make my hair look like that.
Look at that.
I tell you what, though, he had a second row of bottom teeth. It looked a little weird.
Yeah, I looked at that too, and I thought, well, that's certainly a lot of teeth.
That is, and I've got rid of the second row, but he had 2 rows of.
Oh, he had a second row.
Yeah, I had to airbrush out those.
Well, even that first row has like way more teeth than I think most humans do in the bottom.
True. And for quite a number of the pictures, because they offer you several pictures, he had the microphone coming out of his mouth, which I thought was really weird.
Oh, and then the other one that you had the microphone actually connected to the mustache.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It was part of it, inbuilt into his mustache.
Which I thought was pretty handy.
And he has Nick's beard and Jeff's mustache.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
I wish I had that
Jeff's
kind of
hair,
mustache.
I think.
That's an awesome mustache. That I'm not sure I could actually grow one like. I guess I could try.
Sure,
it takes some time though. Maybe I'll give that a try. You know what? I may actually do that. I might just let this thing just keep on going and see if anybody says anything to me. And I'll go, yeah,
until
up yours.
Completely covers your mouth.
Yeah, exactly. I have seen some guys at Acme with mustaches like this one here, which is way out of the regulations for our standards, but apparently they don't care. And I don't
away with
care
enough.
either. Yeah,
fair enough.
And you know who else doesn't care?
Shingles
doesn't care.
Shingles does not care.
Yep.
No.
Excellent.
Okay, everybody, we're going to end the broadcast. Thanks for joining us. Have a good
yes,
weekend.
thanks everybody.
Absolutely.
And hopefully you'll be able to join us Sunday night as well.
Yeah.
Ta-ta.
Ta-ta.
Bye, everybody.